There's nothing like a good bit of outrage, We live in a very fortunate video game world where both indie and AAA video game developers can actively interact with their player base online. In ye olden times, if we didn't like a game, then your best bet was to mail the disc to the headquarters with a post-it note and a rude picture drawn on it. Either that or get a career in video game journalism. Who would want to do that, right? This increased interaction has its pros and cons. On the one hand, fully formed video games are heaped with praise and adulation, but the developers who aren't afforded this opportunity, whether that comes via mismanagement of a project, key staff leaving, or just a failure to put together a strong creative vision, are often met with the frothing mouths of furious consumers and the merciless memeing of internet aficionados. But what about the times they acknowledge and buckle to the will of the people? Now, we're not here to judge whether or not the backlash was warranted in these particular cases, but the following examples showcase games that messed up, were complained about, and ultimately attempted to clean up their act. Shall we look at some? Let's look at some! I'm Ben from TripleJump, and here are 10 video games changed due to fan complaints. Number 10. Destiny. Destiny is an online science fantasy multiplayer-only shooter released for the PlayStation and Xbox consoles by Activision and developed by Bungie. When the base game first launched in 2014, one of the main player companions was a floating metal AI unit called Ghost, voiced by Peter Game of Thrones Dinklage, who is actually taller than our very own Tiny Peter. Fun fact. While the gameplay and graphics were praised, Dinklage's performance was not, with many people using the term phoned in when describing his effort and line reads. However, upon the game's 2015 expansion The Taken King, not only did it tune up PvP and fix a number of glitches and bugs, but Dinklage's audio was replaced by Nolan Nathan Drake North.
We may want to move back. We may want to move back.
While the official line from Bungie was that North was more readily available to record new dialogue for updates going forwards, many suspect that the replacement may have had something to do with the negative response to Dinklage Ghost's dialogue. Only thing is, Nolan North's performance still proves divisive, with some players claiming that they miss their beloved Dinklebot. Sometimes you really don't know what you have until it's gone. Number 9. Assassin's Creed Unity. Viva la Revolution! The popular killing people through history simulator series decided to make their next port of call the time where everyone was killing everyone else. Only problem was that no matter what kind of sneaky, over-the-top assassinations you attempt, it only serves to steal your thunder when their faces start falling off all on their own. Or worse, when you try to go in for a snog and your own face comes off like cheap makeup. Oh god! I swear this doesn't normally happen. The fact that this game had a delayed release and a review embargo was already a red flag, so to speak, and the face glitch apparently caused by certain PC graphics cards was just one of the many errors found, including character models buckling under their own weight, bad hair days, and terrible frame rates. In the wake of overwhelming complaints and widespread ridicule, the game was patched and fixed. Mostly. With Ubisoft giving out the Dead Kings DLC for free as an apology, as well as providing gold and season pass holders with a free copy of another Ubisoft game. But by accepting this offer, they forfeited their right to take legal action against Ubisoft for the state of their purchase. Good stuff all round then. Number 8. Watch Dogs 2. Video games have always had their share of controversy when it comes to naughty things. From Grand Theft Auto San Andreas' infamous hot coffee minigame to other uncomfortable sex scenes, and we're looking at you, Right to Hell Retribution. And with Watch Dogs 2, it was Ubisoft's turn to get in trouble. 2016's Watch Dogs 2 was largely well received and continued the trend set in its prequel for you to hack just about anything. You don't even have to kill people, which people definitely did. And while it had a few bugs and glitches, everything seemed to be going well for Ubisoft, that is, until a player known as Swizzasaw discovered something a bit naughty during his time playing the game. It turns out that at least one NPC model featured a fully rendered "Your vagina is beautiful," which he then screenshotted and shared on social media through his PS4's share feature. And that happened just before his PS4 account was promptly suspended for sharing inappropriate content. Now, Watch Dogs 2 was rated as an 18 game and does contain strong language and many mentions of the sexy times, but this NPC's hidden detailing was apparently a surprise to Ubisoft, who were then very quick to remove it. Number 7. Little Big Planet. It's always good to be inclusive and tolerant in all forms of media, but sometimes even the best of intentions can result in a situation that is problematic. So, how does that relate to our little Sackboy or girl? You see, Little Big Planet was due to be released on the 24th of October 2008, but was hastily delayed just a few days beforehand. This was because, during the review process just before the go-ahead 4 release, Sony were notified in a forum post that one particular music track from the game contained 2 separate expressions from the Quran, the Muslim faith's religious text. It was understandably a sticky issue, with the composer Tumani Jabati being himself a devout Muslim, but many online Muslim organizations and forums contacted developer Media Molecule and Sony to warn them of the potential offense that Muslims may feel having their holy text mixed with music. It was at this point that, of course, others came forward to complain about the complaint, saying that it was against freedom of speech, but for the avoidance of any doubt, Sony ultimately decided to exercise caution with a mass recall of physical copies and decided to patch the game going forwards. Number 6. Fallout 3. Most of the Fallout series now have a mod available that allows you to skip over the opening preamble and be spat straight out into the wasteland. However, it isn't often that the same has to be done to actually add an end game. While on the task of finding your father, Liam Neeson, you and your companions find yourself in a life or death situation with a radiation chamber at risk of exploding. Or, to be more accurate, a death or death situation, as you have the option to either let it explode, killing everyone, including you, or sending your companion Sarah Lyons into the chamber, killing her and it ambiguously killing you, or you can go into the chamber yourself, killing you. What a great choice, Todd! After this decision is made, no matter which one it is, the game fades to white and credits roll, showing the consequences for your actions in the wasteland with no opportunity to re-enter the world because you are dead. So not only were the choices provided utterly meaningless, and this ending gated off potentially 75% of what the game had to offer if you just followed the main quest, but Forks, a radiation-proof mutant companion, is literally stood right there. Maybe he's just tired. Thankfully, a fixed ending came as part of the Broken Steel DLC, but as it wasn't implemented into the base game, there are now forums full of people answering the question, how do I get a good ending, with you have to buy the DLC. Oh, fantastic stuff. Number 5. No Man's Sky. More like No Man's Lie, am I right? Got him! A cautionary tale of the dangers of overhyping a game, the promises made by the dev team, or more specifically director Sean Murray, were taken as gospel, with fans interpreting a vision of No Man's Sky from interviews and presentations that did not match the real No Man's Sky at all. To some, it was going to be a superior version of Spore, but to others it was promising a space opera to rival Star Wars with space battles and player interactions. However, when the game released on PlayStation and Windows in 2016 as a quiet, calming exploration-based title that focused on resource management, to say that the fan reaction was negative is quite an understatement. It infamously reached peak outrage when the highly unlikely occurrence, given the near-endless randomly generated universe of 2 players standing in the same spot, resulted in nothing. They couldn't see each other. After skirting around the topic of multiplayer for months, Sean Murray was exposed as being full of baloney. Now, to be fair, the game has received multiple updates, including base building, new biomes, character customization, and the previously much touted multiplayer. Basically, a lot of features that had been promised in the first place. Number 4. Fallout 76. Bugs. All of the bugs, bad game, worst game, no NPCs, only multiplayer, broken, disconnected servers. It just works. Pam has infected the game from the inside. Todd Howard personally turned up on my door and told me I was a boring child. Bethany Esder kicked my dog and called me a bastard. We've covered Fallout 76 on this channel before, and I'm sure we will again, so to recount all of the issues with the game is rather redundant. If you can just watch our video all about it and its numerous issues, please watch it, we worked very hard. Perhaps most notable about the release, however, was its total lack of NPCs, which made the world feel completely barren and flew in the face of every Fallout game that came before it. Even after hundreds of fixes between the game's release and its current version, changes are still being made to try and make amends with so many spurned Fallout fans. During their 2019 E3 conference, Bethesda announced that major changes were being implemented, including a separate Battle Royale mode to cash in on that trend, and also the addition of NPCs. This update is considered to be something of a new chapter for the game, with a fresh story being written to explain these sudden new arrivals in a location that was continually said to be abandoned, and it wouldn't have happened if fans and critics weren't so vocal about it. People power! Number 3. Star Wars Battlefront 2. The one that started it all. And by it all, I of course mean various government investigations into loot boxes. Not content with having us fill our physical homes with unwanted tat, now we can fill our online profiles with skins, emotes, characters, and stickers that we will never use. Loot boxes in Star Wars Battlefront 2 were particularly egregious as they provided the only realistic means of obtaining much sought after playable heroes, meaning you were encouraged to buy the crates with your real money or continue an almost absurd grind. But who wants to play as Iden Versio for 40 hours? Yeah, it's annoying when you get the same Tracer skin in Overwatch for the 5th time in a row, but at least you didn't have to unlock her after playing as a hamster ball for 40 hours. In response to the naturally negative reaction from fans at not being able to play as the most popular characters in the Star Wars universe, EA defended themselves on Reddit in the most downvoted post in Reddit history, saying that they wanted to give the players a sense of pride and accomplishment. Ouch. Again, in response, EA removed the loot boxes, lowered the credit price for the main characters by 75%, and also lowered the amount of credits earned during the campaign. Way to spit on my cupcake and tell me it's icing, EA. After investigations by numerous European gambling regulators, loot boxes have been subjected to continued investigations into whether or not it counts as gambling. But while we may disagree on what constitutes gambling in this sense, I think we're all on the same page in thinking that this business practice is a bit naughty. Number 2. Final Fantasy XIV. Have you ever worked on a project only to find out that what you've done is so inherently flawed that it's easier to literally start from scratch? No, neither do I, because everything we do is perfect. Final Fantasy XIV was initially released in 2010, with the team strongly of the belief that any issues they ran into could be fixed post-release without any problems. Well, the massive backlash they received upon release proved that not to be the case, as the MMORPG was widely criticized for feeling unfinished, unpolished, and full of bugs, launch errors, and glitches. Patches were made to the game initially, with changes including jobs, personal chocobos, an altered battle system, and more customization and boss fights, but faced with a game that was falling apart around their ears, Square Enix decided to pull the plug and start again. So, 3 years later, they literally released 14 2.0, or A Realm Reborn, still an MMORPG, but with 3 more years of hard work, moving it onto a completely new engine and improving the gameplay, improving the game infrastructure, and generally making it not bad. And against all odds, the game proved to be a huge success, praised for its massive improvements and amazing graphics, and is still receiving updates and expansions as of 2019. You see, sometimes starting over isn't such a bad thing. Number 1. Mass Effect 3. Seen by many as the most famous and polarizing example of how online fan reactions can influence a game post-release, Mass Effect 3's ending is notoriously controversial. Following Commander Shepard in the final stages of his or her mission to defeat the interstellar genocide-enthusiastic cyborgs bent on wiping out all of organic life every 50,000 years, the much-praised story of the original trilogy, rich in morality-based decision-making, was boiled down to just 3 options at its conclusion. 1. Destroy the Reapers and all synthetic life. 2. Control the Reapers and convince them to not genocide. Or 3. Merge synthetic and organic life together and allow unity through cool robot stuff. After navigating this rubbish 3-way tie, the immediate fate of who survives in your ship and on Earth depends on some arbitrary overall score, but after the immediate aftermath, the game cuts to a man telling the story of the game, and that's it. Similarly to Fallout 3's ending, many considered the final decision to be one that basically rendered all previous character decisions and interactions completely pointless, and its sudden end left way too many loose ends hanging for people to be satisfied. After a monumental backlash, BioWare released a free DLC that expanded the ending, including additional cutscenes to explain slight inconsistencies and to include a more definitive epilogue, giving closure to Shepard's story. They did not, however, provide any additional options. And that's our list. Do you have any games that let you down and wish were changed? Let us know all about it in the comments below. You can follow myself and TripleJump on Twitter here, and while you're at it, why not support the things you enjoy by having a look at our Patreon. Finally, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I'm Ben from TripleJump, and thanks for watching.